We're happy to have Judd Silverman, who is the tournament director for the Marathon Classic, here with us this evening. Judd, a lot of stuff happening. Are we going to have a tournament this year?
Well, we're certainly hopeful, Fred. Right now, the decision really is in the governor's hands because the 4 Ohio professional golf tournaments, we've collaborated and put together a proposal for him requesting that he lifts the current restrictions on outdoor sporting events so that we can have spectators attend all 4 tournaments.
The Memorial came out with a notice that they're going to use little RFID codes or whatever on the badges so they can kind of see where the crowds are congregating. If they get too many in one location, they can go out and kind of move those around. Do you see anything like that happening in Toledo as well?
No, I think what we'll be doing is just communicating with our marshal captains who are throughout, our marshals are on every hole and at the driving range and the practice facilities. And we will just be in constant communication with them. And obviously in all of our training with them, they will be looking for, people congregating wherever it might be. And, they'll just give them a friendly reminder that they've got to separate. And there'll be plenty of signage throughout the golf course as well and on our electronic leaderboards. So, expressing, our wishes that people really respect the social distance. And I know that that's important to everybody. So hopefully it won't ever be a problem, but if it is, we've got a great volunteer marshal force and, we'll work with them to remind people.
Speaking of your volunteers, you've had people that are volunteering that maybe started with you back in 1984, right? I mean, these people come back every year.
Yeah, no doubt. We do have some 35-year volunteers, and it's great. None of these tournaments could happen without the work of the volunteers. So we've got a great volunteer organization, a lot of volunteer chairmen with plenty of experience, especially in the Marshall area. So we're confident that we can communicate with the spectators and keep everybody separated. But there's plenty of space out there, that's for sure. And I know as we've talked, all 4 tournaments have agreed to eliminate all bleachers this year, just in an effort to eliminate as much touch points as we can in an effort to keep people safe.
Well, that brings up the next question. The PGA Tour has been out with a list of protocols that they're going to follow. And I know you mentioned to me that you're going to follow along with some of those also. Could you kind of give us some of the high points of that protocol of what you're looking at to keep people safe?
Yeah, I mean, we've worked closely with the LPGA Tour with what they're calling their back to play protocols, and it really has to do with keeping the players, the caddies, the volunteers, and the spectators safe from testing the players and caddies and LPGA staff on a weekly basis. And all the way to thermal scanning the spectators before they get on site. Like in our public parking lot, we'll probably thermal scan them before they get on the bus, so that
really?
if there is someone that is, has a fever, our medical team can sort of pull them aside and probably send them home. And ask them, to keep close tabs on themselves, talk to their own doctor when they get home. But that way, they don't get on the bus with a bunch of other people. And these are the types of protocols that, every tournament is going to be considering and putting into operation because it's going to be the protocol of their tour. So the LPGA and the PGA Tour have worked very closely together over the last 2 months on developing their protocols. The 4 Ohio tournaments, we felt it was important that everyone wear a mask, because literally the way it stands right now, the Memorial Tournament and the Marathon LPGA Classic will be the first 2, not only golf events, but I think sporting events to play in front of spectators if the governor will allow us since COVID-19 struck. So we just felt it was important that everyone wear a mask. If people forget to bring a mask, we will give them a mask. So, it's all the way down to that. Our food and beverage operations will be all packaged food in an effort to eliminate touch points. There won't be any buffets, that type of thing.
Yeah, you mentioned the schedule. The DAO Great Lakes Bay Invitational was scheduled to be the first event back for the LPGA, but DAO just announced this week that they're going to cancel for 2020 and resume again next year. So that puts you as the first event back. And I know Michael Wan is anxious to get the tour back going. I know that the girls are ready to get back to playing, but all that being said, everybody wants to be safe. And so there's a lot of these steps or protocols that have to be in place to make it as safe as it can be for everyone, the players, the volunteers, the staff, everybody in concern.
No doubt. It's the number one priority. And like I said, we've spent 6 weeks working on these plans. This is brand new to everybody. But, in addition to working with the LPGA and the PGA tours, we've worked with our local health departments on this to get their help and direction on all of these protocols. And, the Lucas County Health Department has been terrific in working with us. We've also met with the city of Sylvania Fire and Police about these protocols. So, we've developed sort of a big task force throughout the state of Ohio, because it's not only the local health departments, like Dan is working with the health department in Franklin County, and Don's working with the health department in Summit County. We're working with Lucas County, but then you have the state health department we're also working with. So, we're trying to get a plan that everybody is comfortable with, and in the end, that the governor is comfortable with. But the governor's done a great job. Obviously, he does not make knee-jerk decisions, and this will be right along that same path. So that's why we've collaborated with everybody, Fred, and we feel strongly that professional golf really does have an advantage because of the size of the golf course, and people can move around at their discretion to keep social distance and not congregate.
Yeah, one last subject I want to touch base on. The Marathon Classic does such a great job providing the last few years about $500,000 to local children's charities generated from the event. Is that going to be able to happen again this year from what you're seeing?
Yes, if we're allowed to have spectators, it is our goal. Our goal this year was to raise $600,000. Last year, the tournament gave $570,000. We've got 25 Northwest Ohio children's charities that are going to benefit this year. And absolutely, if we can have our pro-ams and we can provide the advertising and the hospitality that we normally do, it may look a little different this year. But if we can provide those things and be able to generate the revenue from those different line items, sure, then our goal is definitely to give as much money as we can to charity under these circumstances. Obviously, our sales effort came to a screeching halt about 8 weeks ago. So now we're cranking it back up as the business community reopens in the state of Ohio. And, we're hopeful, Fred, that we can still meet our goals. It's not going to be easy, but, going to ask for the help of all community businesses to support us any way they can, large or small, and hopefully we'll get there.
So you really want the fans there, and I think you said to me you're really not excited about holding the tournament if you don't have fans. Is there a drop dead date? We're here kind of just past the middle of May. Your tournament is scheduled for about the third week of July. Are you looking maybe the middle of June or something? You need to have a decision from the state by then?
Yeah, and I give the governor's team credit. You know, we had a conference call with the chiefs of staff of the lieutenant governor and the governor, and they asked those questions. They realized, hey guys, I know you must have deadlines. When do you need to know from the governor if he'll allow spectators or not? And I believe Dan said he'd like to know about June 1st, and we need to know, you know, somewhere around June 15th. You know, we're hopeful that the governor can give us an answer any time between like this Friday and the following Friday. He received the proposal last Friday. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But yes, I think he and his team, you know, will give us an answer knowing that we really do need these answers by a certain date so that we can build the infrastructure that it takes to, you know, put on the tournament.
Well, Judd, thanks so much for taking a minute to come and talk with us. You guys do a great job putting on the Marathon Classic every year. You always get an exciting field in, and you've been doing it for a long time, and the charity dollars you generate from that, it's well received in the community. And so we wish you a lot of luck. Sounds like you're doing everything you can to make this thing go for 2020.
We sure are, and we're hopeful that the governor will give us that opportunity, and we're also confident that we can do it in a very safe environment for our fans and sponsors and volunteers and the players and caddies, for sure.
Thanks a lot, Judd.
Thank you, Fred.
Let me just pause this.